Man, fellas, this is it. This episode right here had some of the best fight scenes I've seen in Kamen Rider. And you know what? Let's talk about it. Yo, what is going on YouTube? This your boy Kamen Rider Zero Spike back again once again. And today, people, today we have a Kamen Rider Geats episode 47. And let me tell you, like I said in the intro, man, this had to be some of the best. This had to be some of the best fights I've seen in Kamen Rider. Jit is absolutely a very aggressive Kamen fighter. I swear he's like this, man, fellas. This is it. I think it's gonna be my new thing. But in this episode, man, a lot majority was fighting. We got two big fights in this episode. Well, technically three, but one kind of didn't matter. Well, it mattered, but at the same time, we got the two most important fights in this episode was Keiwa versus Kikera and Ace versus Jit. And I swear, Jit gotta be that guy. I hate that. Well, we found out what he really is in this episode as well. But in this episode, we see that we got Buffer and Sarah and Keiwa speaking with each other. We see that Buffer apologizes for everything that he's done. He apologizes to Sarah, and he tells Sarah, he apologized for everything. And she's like, "Oh man, it's cool. You did a lot to save me, and we'll call it even." So yeah. So now they're wondering about Ace. We see that Ace is still being still in the the God creation room, where he's still being held down by the vines, and he is slowly but surely still becoming a god of creation. We see that Kikera is getting ready to make his own wish, but we also saw that Sakura, and we see that Win and Neon and Sumidi, they're all talking about how they're happy that Kay was back with them and things like that, and still trying to figure out what they're gonna do next. We see that Kikera, he makes his wish. The others, or Black Sumidi, makes his wish with her, basically saying that he wished that Keiwa was the only Kamen Rider in the world, and he was able, and he ended up turning everybody into like stuffed animals and things like that. They basically get turned into an inanimate object of what their rider presents. We see that Buffer gets transformed into like a plush buffalo. We see that Neon gets turned into like one of the coin cat things, and Wayne just gets turned into a straight up pumpkin. So now that all the other riders are basically out of the way, we see that Kikera ends up challenging Keiwa to their final fight and things like that. We see that they ended up getting Sarah. He ended up getting Sarah out of there, and we see that just when Kikera is getting ready to fight Keiwa, we see that Daichi comes in. Daichi comes in, and as he protects Sarah, he tells him that, "Yeah, I just saved this girl. Yes, I barely saved this girl yesterday, so don't put your hands on her." We see that Daichi transforms into his Jamato form and starts battling Keiwa. He's battling Keiwa for a while. We see that Keiwa ends up getting Sarah out of there, and they ended up just leaving the Buffer plushie there. I'm like, y'all, Sarah, you could have picked up Buffer. You could have went and picked up Buffer, man. Like, you could have went and picked him up and carried him to safety, I guess. But I'm like, dang, in the heat of the moment, it was just like, screw it. So he ends up getting Sarah out of there. We see that Daichi ends up losing his fight with Kikera. We see that and Kikera ends up teleporting Keiwa and Daichi away somewhere. He ends up teleporting them away. And that's when Ace, he's still like seeing everything. We said Ace still is able to see everything that's going on, and that's when Jit goes and talks to talks to Ace. We said Ace is like, he's slowly, like I said before, he's slowly turning to stone and things like that. And that's when Kikeiwa comes on the big screen and makes it and announces like this game he's about to play with Keiwa. We see that Keiwa does have like a heart-to-heart talk with Daichi, and I guess Daichi isn't gonna betray us all in the end. We see that he said that maybe I could find some kind of happiness in the boring life you have with your sister and things like that. And Keiwa basically tells him that, hey man, even though you're a Jamato, you still have the right to be happy at the end of the day. He thanked him for saving Sarah, and yeah, we see that Daichi, he comes in clutch a few times in this episode too. He comes in clutch a few times in this episode, especially when the game that him and the game that Keiwa and Kiketa are having. So Kiketa ends up announcing all this. He's showing everything on the big screen. He sees everybody in the city's like watching this, and Keiwa has to fight Kiketa because Kiketa has captured 3 people. He's captured a girl, a little boy, and and a man. He's kidnapped them and chained them to the basically chained them up, and he tells Keiwa that, hey, you have to defeat me in order to save them because these Jamato over here are gonna eat her, and they got a bunch of Jamato over there behind this door, and the door is like slowly opening, and they get to the people, they're going to eat them. So Keiwa's fighting him. He ends up transforming into ninja. For some reason, he ends up transforming into ninja. His regular form transforms into ninja. He's fighting Kiketa, and he can't beat him. So Kiketa ends up beating him. The people are getting the Jamato are getting closer. The people about to die, and we see that Kiketa tries to coax Keiwa into like making a wish. Basically writing it down, making a wish and things like that people get saved and stuff. Keiwa's like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm done sacrificing people's happiness in order to make myself happy. We see that Jit is also trying to coax Geats into granting him granting Keiwa's wish, but Keiwa says, nah, screw that, I'm not gonna let it happen. And then the door starts to open, and the people, the people start they're about to get eaten by these Jamato. Jamato are running towards them. We see that Daichi comes in, uses his Jamato powers to control the loose Jamato, and basically makes them leave the people alone. And he ends up breaking the chains on the people as well. We see that the 3 people escape, and that's when Keiwa gets back to his fight with Kiketa. He's fighting Kiketa, and he kicks Kiketa through this wall. And we see that that's when Kiketa's telling him like, hey man, you still my favorite and everything and all that. He says that, but one day, that darkness that took you over will eventually take you over again. Kay was like, no, I'm not gonna let that happen. I decide how I use my powers and things. He transforms into Bujin's sword, and that's when he does his rider kick and ends up defeating Kiketa. Now he thanks Kiketa for basically making him a Kamen Rider and telling him that, hey, you gave me the power to basically protect world peace. And that's when Kiketa goes, well said, Sakura Keiwa, and he fades away. After he fades away, then we get to the fight. We get to Jit and Geats, who are there, they're sitting there talking and things like that. Jit is basically telling him that, hey, your only existence is to become a god, become a god of creation and be used. We see that Geats is like, no, these creation powers are mine and mine alone, and they're up to me. They're up to me to wield. And he ends up breaking the vines, but he does the thing he does in the opening where he just breaks them. He ends up doing that, and it was actually kind of cool. It was really cool. He ends up transforming back to his regular state as well. He goes back to his, he's not white haired anymore, and that's when Jit's like, oh cool, hey, you actually broke through it. We see that Jit actually transforms. He has his driver is called the Zillion driver, and he hinges up into, which is he's very flashy with it too. This pose he does, man, it had me kind of dying, but I'm like, man, this is Kamen Rider. Gotta have the cool pose in there, JoJo pose. But he ends up transforming into Kamen Rider Regard or Regad. I think it's Regard. But yeah, he ends up transforming into that, and we get the amazing fight between these two. And also, like I said before, Regad Jit, he is a very aggressive fighter. We've seen this before when he's out of suit. He's a very aggressive fighter. He also has like somewhat of a speed advantage over Geats, but Geats is able to use his powers to intercept some of his attacks, and he ends up. Jit basically tells him that, hey, I got a bad end that I'm trying to make, and that's the only thing that you're gonna get. And Geats is like, nah, I'm getting my happy ending. Everybody's getting their happy ending, and we see that Geats ends up like creating a platform. They're fighting in the air for a while, and after he fights him in the air, he ends up doing his doing his ultimate attack on him, which he throws his sword into Jit's chest, and then ends up doing his rider kick and kicks his sword through his chest. It was dope. So we see that Jit ends up fading away, and he says before he fades, he basically says that my life serves no meaning anyway, and he ends up fading away, and his data and whatever goes inside of Zuo, and Zuo is essentially, he tells Geats that Zuo was nothing. He was just a creation, a fabrication that I created, and I can create another one easily. Like, Jit could come back, and it could be a different Jit, but he can come back. And he basically said he was just how these future people are. They're essentially just like data avatars. So I guess Jit was essentially Zuel's avatar, and he ends up turning into that. He ends up turning into Data, going back inside of Zuel, and that's when Zuel makes the grand announcement that he says, "Hey, we're about to commit to our final game," and that's when we see Black Subity. She goes out and she does what regular Subity does, and she goes off and starts, handing people desire drivers. And that's when Zuo transforms into the true Kamen Rider Regard. But he's a little different. He has like an eye thing on his face. Like, he has eyes on his body and stuff, and he has his mask like opens up like an eyeball, so he has like an eye on his helmet. But very, very, very small, subtle change. You could tell the difference. But yeah. And he ends up putting like these like those red vine game things that they used to do a lot when a game was actually happening. He puts that up, and the episode ends off right there. But next episode, we're going to see that a bunch of people are being made into Kamen Riders, and I think they're all fighting each other. I think it's another battle royale. You see, that's one of the things that Zuo likes to do and Jit like to do. They like to make battle royales and have all the riders fight each other instead of how the regular Desire Grand Prix was. But yeah, man, this is a lot going on in this episode. I mean, it was majority fighting, but I guess it's just them finding ways of redeeming people, which was Daichi, and also just tying up loose ends and getting rid of of everybody else around them, all the other bad guys around them, to just make Zuo the overall end all be all bad guy. And I don't know how they're gonna beat this guy, because this guy seems to be like completely omnipotent. He seems to be like just this god kind of character, and we know that we all know that he's from the future. These future people, they're all like Data, they're avatars of someone else. So I don't know how exactly they're going to defeat Zuel, even though showing that he just has all these different powers, and he can phase, and he could be anywhere, he sees everything. Like, he can create avatar, he can create other avatars to fight for him. Case in point, example, Jit. But it's gonna be a lot, and I think next episode most likely we're getting real close. I think maybe Geats will probably end on episode, maybe in the next episode, or maybe we'll get an episode 49. But yeah, we got this. I hope this has to be the final game, because ain't nobody else left to fight except Zuo, or unless they make Black Subity a writer or something like that. But yeah, I don't think Geats knows. Also, the next episode seems like they're going to be replicating a bunch of stuff that happens like in the opening, with Geats actually meeting Black Subity, and Geats should know that there's two Subities. So it looks like they're going to be replicating what happens in the opening with Subity like putting his rifle to him. So yeah, but I didn't see them. It doesn't show them fighting Zuel in the next episode. So most likely we will fight him. They just probably just don't want to spoil it, or maybe we'll fight him in episode 49. I don't know. But other than that, this is a great episode. Also, when Keiwa defeated Kekera, his wish got, revoked. So everybody who got turned into the inanimate object or whatever gets turned back to the normal self, and they end up waking up like back where they were, and they're highly confused. But yeah, I don't know, man. Like, Zuel seems like a really, really powerful dude. We're gonna need a miracle to end up defeating this guy, but yeah. But if Zuel can just create things, like create people, who's to say he can't just bring, Kaketa back, or he could bring back Beruba? Like, he most likely it probably won't be like actually them, or they'll probably just be an avatar or a fake version of them that still has all the memories of the regular ones. But yeah, he probably could do that. I don't think he is going to do that, but he probably could do that. But with that being said, guys, you guys let me know down in the comment section below what you guys think of Kamen Rider Geats episode 47. How do you think they're going to beat Zuel? What do you think of this, of Kamen Rider Regard? Like, this form looks like, I mean, it's another glare / gazer kind of clone thing, but out of all of them, this looks the best. This suit is dope. I love the way this suit looks. The black, the red, the gold, like, it just screams evil Kamen Rider. And I think this guy is my new favorite evil Kamen Rider, because he's just like, when Geats using him, because Geats, wow. But other than that, I'm gonna stop fangirling. I'm gonna see you guys next time. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell. I'm gonna see you guys next time. Remember, stay Henshin.